Hi guys, Courtyard Homes. Hope you're well. I just thought it would help if I went and did an update of what's happening with your account. So straight into it. So this is the dashboard. If you haven't seen one of these updates before, this is the dashboard at the moment. And most of the figures that I talk about now will be over the last 30 days. Excuse me. So if we look at the last 30 days, clicks, we've had 786 clicks. So that's how many people have clicked into the advert. 12,800, we can get an exact figure there, 12,761 times your advert has landed. Okay, so what we can see here is that out of 12,800 odd, 786 people have taken that further step of clicking into the advert, and out of those 786 people, 105 have done a full instant online valuation at the cost of £3 each. Now we can quickly have a look at how that compares to the previous 30 days. So if you go in here and you click compare previous 30 days and click apply. Okay, so what we see here is we can see a fair drop in the amount of instant online valuations we get, but we're going to get that fluctuating because the ad is older now. We're going to get that fluctuating, but I'll show you what I've done to deal with that. We've had a slight drop in clicks, but we've had an increase in the amount of times the advert has landed, and then there's only £1 difference really with the cost of each one of the instant valuations coming in. So the drop that we've had there, I'll just go back to normal on here. So obviously my job is to spot if any kind of fluctuation or drop in leads happens. So we spotted that, and there were a few changes that were made. So the changes that we made, if I just move myself there quickly, we click into, and I didn't need to move myself there. So if we click into here, which is change history, and you can see that I've made 21 changes this month to do with the campaign, to do with geo-targeting, to do with adding keywords in, taking keywords out. So we're looking at optimizing the ad and make sure that the ad is running at full optimization. Let's just go to, the next thing I want to show you is to do with locations. And this is probably something I need your feedback on. So at the moment, these are all the locations that we're running adverts within. And you can see that some locations are performing a lot better than other locations. And the reason for this is, here's an example. If I was working in an estate agency and the boss said to me, go out to this estate and go and knock on everyone's doors and see what houses you can get to sell. So if I went into that area and then I came back at the end of the day and I said, oh yeah, I booked 8 valuations. Well, that boss is going to do one thing and one thing only, tell me to go back into that area the next day to get more results. Whereas if I went into an area and got no results at all, you kind of question how well that area works. In the same way, Google works. Google will go into an area, show the adverts, and if people start responding to that advert, then it knows it can get a result in that particular area, and it will keep going into that area. So this is what's happened here, and you can see that the most popular area is WA2, which 11 valuations over the last 30 days, so one every couple of days, and they're coming in quite cheap as well at £1.84 each, whereas when you look at WA16, we've only got one in, and that's cost £6.39. Some areas are getting nothing at all. So what we can do, and I need your feedback on this, is that we can change the effort that Google will put into a certain area. So if you told me that this area, for example, WA1, if you said, well, in WA1, if we get houses on the market there, they sell straight away, so can we get more leads in WA1? Well, then what I would need to do is increase the bids in that area. Now that doesn't change your daily budget, but it does increase the amount of effort that Google will put into that particular area. So we can increase that by 30% or whatever. In the same way, if you tell me that WA2, we're getting loads of valuations in that area, if you tell me that you don't like that area, we can do the same. We can say to Google, look, calm down in that area, and we can decrease the amount of valuations that you're getting in that area. So that's quite an important thing to show you. There's one more thing that I'd like to show you on this update, and that is insights. This is something that I look at regularly now, just to make sure that we are staying in line with trends that are happening. So if we have a look at this, we can go into detail on all this, but I'll just show you an overview on it. So the housing market and real estate prices, they're trending compared to last week. So people are doing, according to Google, and Google know, people are researching housing market and real estate prices, and they're doing this more than they were doing last week. So that's a trend. And what I keep an eye on is, if the trend is up by 7%, ours needs to be up a lot more. Luckily, ours is up by 63%. If we change that to impressions, which is how many times the advert lands, we're up 28%, and the trend is up 7%. So I always make sure that and that's the adjustments that I make on a regular basis, is to make sure you just stay ahead of those trends or with those trends. If the trend in the UK was home valuations, and we didn't have that within our keywords, well, then we've got a problem. We're not staying with the trend. And here again, home appraisals, our clicks are down. We look at impressions. So this is something that I need to work on now, in that we've had a 5% increase on home appraisals trending, and actually our impressions for that particular word has dropped. So that's where now I'll go into keywords and I'll make an adjustment on the bids, and we'll see if we can get ahead of that curve really as well. But as a whole, we are trending nicely above the rest of the country as far as the trend goes. So that's the other thing that I keep a very close eye on. But all in all, because of the age of your advert, I think I've been running it for nearly a year now. The results are excellent. When you're only paying £3 per lead, it's really good, and anything over 100 leads at £10 a day is brilliant. There's only one thing really. If you want to improve your result on that, you'd have to up your budget, because that's the only thing that obviously proves that it can increase the results. But I think if you're putting 100 odd leads into your system every month, then that's a good thing. One last thing just to think about, and I've been talking to a lot of people about this recently, is don't ever think of the leads as sort of individual leads one at a time. Because if you start looking at that, you'll get one lead that comes in and you'll speak to them and they'll say, well, not looking to move yet. And you'll go, rubbish lead. That's all, what a weak lead. And then in July this year, everything could change. They could end up winning some money. They could end up getting a promotion. They could end up having another baby. And all of a sudden, that lead then comes to market, and on a 500 grand house, you get a 5 or 6 grand fee. All of a sudden, that's a brilliant lead and it's really hot. So what you've done is, when it's come in, you've judged it because they're not moving straight away. But then when it comes good, you're going, oh, that's a really hot lead. Well, I think if you switch your mindset and you go, well, if we're getting 100 people into the system every month that have got a house to sell, well, eventually you're going to have 10,000 people that you can send emails to, videos to, brochures to, like whatever you want. You can market to those people for free as much as you want. So, if you're a director of an estate agent and you sat down around the table and said, how are we going to generate more valuations? Well, if you're gathering this kind of data, you'll be able to say, well, let's think of a great bit of content and email it out to the people that are already on the system that have got a house to sell. So there's a top tip for you, but I hope you get it with all that. If you do want a face-to-face meeting, as in Zoom or anything, if there's anything else you want to speak about on the adverts, if you want to speak about YouTube advertising as well, which I now do, so promoting your videos, then you know where I am, just get in touch. But for now, I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.